Career ends for Russian Special Military Operation veteran Zaur Gurtsev, a key figure in Russia's air campaign over Mariupol and Avdiivka. Born in North Ossetia and trained in St. Petersburg, Gurtsev led deadly airstrikes that killed thousands of civilians in Mariupol, actions now investigated as war crimes. Despite receiving 5 medals for his role, he recently transitioned to civilian life as deputy mayor of Stavropol until his reported elimination. Zaur Gurtsev was killed in Stavropol. He is a Russian major who ordered the bombing of Mariupol in 2022 and was even given a position in the mayor's office for it, according to Agentstvo News. On the night of May 29th, a major in charge of the aerial bombardment of Mariupol was killed in a grenade explosion in Stavropol. Thousands of people were killed because of the orders of Gurtsev, who recently served as deputy head of Stavropol. The grenade explosion was near a multi-story building at Chekhov Street. The explosion killed 2 men. Before the explosion, they were sitting on a bench near the building and drinking alcohol. The grenade was detonated by an unknown, the statement said. And if we want to know more who Zaur Gurtsev was, in this video he presents himself. Where the missile will fall, where the bombs will fly, that's what we do. Major of the Russian Armed Forces, Zaur Gurtsev, who was blown up in Stavropol.
В данный момент я начальник авиации в полосе общевойсковой армии. Куда будет падать бомба, куда полетит ракета, вот этим мы занимаемся. Орден мужества я получил за руководство воздушной частью операции по освобождению города Мариуполь. Особенность и сложность была на подходе к городу, когда начались очень плотные бои. Очень хотелось помогать, быть полезным для наземных подразделений, но в связи с тем, что авиационная бомба – это такое средство авиационного поражения, которое при большой плотности его использовать не предоставляется возможности, мы придумали, разработали применение высокоточных ракет Х-25 с внешним лазерным подсветом. То есть занимались тем, что вычисляли цели и, соответственно, подсвечивали ракеты, чтобы она летела точно в цели, нанося урон только противнику. У нас максимальная близость подсвета цели от нас находилась в 400 метрах, и после взрыва ракеты и тебе прилетает. Об опасности вообще не думаешь. Думаешь о том, чтобы как можно сократить время пребывания там, сделать максимально точные расчеты, прийти, выполнить свою задачу и поскорее поменять свою позицию, откатиться. Да, мне очень нравится моя работа. Я даже сначала не поверил, потому что было подано более 44 тысяч заявок и было отобрано 83 человека. И что я попал в эти 83 человека, для меня стало большой неожиданностью и большой радостью и счастьем. Здесь все 83 человека — это сильные люди, которые уже сталкивались с такими испытаниями в жизни, и они не подвели ни родину, ни страну. Я для себя ощущаю, что я теперь могу вносить какие-то инновационные изменения, стараться делать лучше для большего количества людей.
Minus one more quad, a Russian soldier shouts after a Ukrainian drone strike. The drone hit a garage housing a quad bike near a group of soldiers, destroying the vehicle, killing 1 and wounding 2.
That's it, fucking bastards! Another quad is down, damn it!
See, bastards. 1 is killed here. The 3 are wounded. 1 is all. Well, not all. Wounded too. Let's see what happened.
Tivaz Artillery Group destroys a BM-21 Grad MLRS and its nearby ammunition depot with a precision strike using cluster-equipped HIMARS. Ukrainian forces continue to target Russian BM-21 Grad multiple-launch rocket systems with precision strikes. In a recent operation, Ukrainian Special Operations Forces identified and destroyed 2 Russian Grad systems on the southern front using HIMARS rocket artillery. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has asked Western allies for $30 billion to help Ukraine fully ramp up its domestic weapons production and push back against Russian forces. I would like us to receive $30 billion in order to fully launch only Ukrainian production, Zelenskyy told reporters in Kyiv on Tuesday, according to a Kyiv Post journalist. So that you can roughly understand what war is and in what volumes. That is, in principle, we are underutilized by about this amount of money. We are underutilized for a year. I mean, both the missile program and everything that we are capable of producing. Zelenskyy said Ukraine still relies on foreign help for some supplies. Artillery shells, for example, are handled by the European Union, he said. I thank them, especially Ursula von der Leyen. We found 2/3 of the money for artillery shells in external purchases. This is not an issue of production capacity. It's an issue of funding, the issue of the external package that we needed for a year, he added. As U.S. support under President Donald Trump and peace talks with Russia remain uncertain, Ukraine is now looking inward for solutions. However, Zelenskyy warned that Ukraine's economy, battered by more than 3 years of war, lacks the investment needed to meet the country's demands. Russia has recently increased its missile and drone strikes, launching some of the largest attacks of the war this month. At the same time, international aid is drying up. Zelenskyy said Ukraine is looking at frozen Russian assets as a possible funding source and plans to raise the issue at next month's Group of Seven G7 summit in Alberta, Canada. The G7 proposed a $56.5 billion loan package last year, using profits from $300 billion in frozen Russian assets. There are Russian assets from the country that brought war to us, Zelenskyy said. I believe there are many instruments available to finance Ukraine's war efforts. He also called for expanding Ukraine's drone program, aiming to increase daily drone missions from 100 to 300 to 500. This is not an issue of production capacity. It is an issue of funding, he said. If our partners help us, the Russians will feel the response. The EU has launched a new Black Sea strategy to boost defense readiness amid growing Russian threats. The plan includes €75 billion in infrastructure upgrades for military mobility, a new maritime security hub, and deeper ties with Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, and others. Russian troops have lost over 4,000 tanks in the war against Ukraine, according to documented evidence. Analysts from the Oryx Group have documented all these losses, who record every case of Russian equipment lost using photo and video evidence. This number includes destroyed, abandoned, and captured Russian army tanks. Oryx analysts have been keeping records since February 2022, when the full-scale invasion began. Their database only includes equipment whose loss has been confirmed by photos or videos. Accordingly, the actual number of losses is likely to be significantly higher. Many tanks listed as abandoned were probably destroyed or captured by the Ukrainian military. If a tank was initially captured and then destroyed, it is counted only as a loss of the original operator to avoid double counting in the statistics. If the origin of a tank cannot be reliably established, it is not included in the list. In addition, between 2014 and 2021, i.e., before the start of the full-scale war, Russian invasion forces lost at least 50 tanks of various modifications. This includes the then-modern Russian T-72B3, which was first used by the Russian army against Ukraine in 2014. In total, according to Oryx estimates, the Ukrainian military destroyed more than 22,000 units of various Russian equipment, including tanks, armored vehicles, artillery, and aircraft. At the same time, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reports that as of May 29th, Russia's losses in the war reached 10,864 tanks and 22,645 other armored vehicles. The last captured Russian tank was recorded in November last year. At that time, Ukrainian Marines managed to capture a Russian T-72B3 tank in the Kharkiv sector. Ukraine is expected to begin deploying German-funded long-range weapons, deep strike systems, as early as 2025. According to Germany's Ministry of Defense, the first units could be operational within weeks of financing. The agreement, signed earlier today, includes Berlin's commitment to invest directly in weapons production inside Ukraine. Since these systems are already in service with the Ukrainian armed forces, no additional training is required, the German side stated. Sweden has also recently pledged to fund the production of Ukrainian long-range strike weapons, which are used to target key infrastructure in Russia. Over the past year, Ukraine has increased its output of deep strike drones 22-fold compared to 2022. This growth has been made possible in part due to international support. The deep strike category includes long-range UAVs such as the Lyuty and Bober, and missile-capable drones like Peklo and Palyanitsia. Ukrainian forces are also employing several classified long-range systems. Today, more than half of Ukraine's deep strike drones are domestically produced, from design to assembly. These systems are being used to target critical infrastructure inside Russia. Strikes have focused on oil refineries, fuel depots, and energy infrastructure that supports Russian military logistics and generates revenue for the Russia's state budget, helping to finance the aggression against Ukraine. One of the most effective drones is the Lyuty, which carries a 75-kilogram warhead and has a range of more than 1,000 kilometers. It has been used in recent attacks on strategic targets deep within Russian territory. Lyuty launches are typically coordinated with other drones, some of which serve as decoys equipped with radar reflectors. This tactic helps to penetrate Russian air defenses and increase strike effectiveness. The Israeli Ministry of Defense is selling used M113 armored personnel carriers of various models to anyone interested. The International Defense Cooperation Directorate of the Israeli Ministry of Defense has announced that registration for the tender will remain open until June 25. The available armored personnel carriers include various models, which are offered as is, in their current condition, without any guarantees or warranties. The Israeli Ministry of Defense is not responsible for any actions related to the movement or transportation of these APCs. The tender is open to both domestic and international participants. The equipment will only be delivered to the winners after re-export permits have been obtained in accordance with the provisions of this tender and in accordance with U.S. and Israeli law. This is because M113 armored personnel carriers are American equipment, the resale of which requires permission from the U.S. government. Israel reserves the right to change the terms of the tender or cancel it completely at any time at its discretion. In July, an inspection tour will be organized for tender participants to inspect the M113 armored personnel carriers. According to Military Balance, as of 2024, Israel has approximately 5,000 M113 armored personnel carriers in storage. In 2016, Israel unveiled its own armored personnel carrier, the Eitan. The new Eitan will replace the American M113 APCs, which are still in service with the Israeli Army. Eitan APCs are already being used in the front lines of the Israeli forces alongside tank units and infantry conducting assault operations in urban areas of the Gaza Strip.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.